Rome was undoubtedly one of the greatest empires in history. Around the 1st century AD, Roman emperors ruled over a vast area stretching from Britain to Egypt, from Anatolia to Spain. During these years, 1 in every 5 people on Earth was living within the borders of the empire. Rome harbored many cultures and beliefs. As one traveled from one city to another, cultures, beliefs, religious rituals, and even worshipped gods could change. During this period, a new belief emerged in the Jewish province of Rome and gradually began to spread within the boundaries of the empire. This belief was Christianity. We discussed how Christianity originated and began to spread in the previous section. In this section, we will delve into how the Roman Empire became Christian. However, it is useful to first touch upon Rome's initial attitude toward the early Christians because this religious transition was not a sudden event. In the year 64 AD, on the night of July 19th, a dark cloud of smoke rose from the buildings around the Circus Maximus, Rome's famous chariot racing stadium. The cause of this smoke cloud was a fire that started in a shop and continued to grow, spreading to surrounding buildings. Within a few hours, a significant part of the city was engulfed in flames. This great fire in Rome has gone down in history as one of the city's most significant disasters. The extinguishing of the fire, which began on the night of July 19th, took a full 6 days. However, the calming of the flames did not mean the fire was entirely under control. Romans could not fully contain the fire, and the flames rose once again. The city continued to burn for an additional 3 days after everything seemed to be over. When it all ended, the damage was immense. Centuries-old structures lay in ruins, and 2/3 of the city had vanished. Today, there is no definitive record about how this fire started. Most likely, even one of the prominent emperors of that period, Nero, was not aware of such information. However, he needed a scapegoat to evade responsibility for the fire, and that scapegoat would be the Christians. Before the fire, there are some records claiming that 2 significant figures in Christian history, namely Peter, one of Jesus' most important apostles, and Paul, frequently mentioned in the previous section, were in Rome. It is challenging to reach a general consensus on why Nero accused the Christians because the situation depends on many uncertain factors, such as whether Nero was disturbed by their sermons, whether he harbored personal animosity towards them, whether the Christians genuinely started the fire, or whether some Roman politicians influenced Nero's thinking in this way. As a result of all these events, Nero shifted the blame for the Great Fire in Rome onto the Christians, initiating the first general persecution of Christians in Roman history. Anyone who embraced the teachings of Jesus was captured, subjected to severe penalties, and killed. In this persecution, significant figures important to Christians, such as Peter and Paul, were also involved. Approximately 35 years later, the renowned Roman historian Tacitus recorded these events. Without Tacitus's writings, our knowledge on this subject would be much more limited. During Tacitus's time, around the end of the 1st century AD, Rome did not implement a general persecution policy against Christians. However, this policy varied over time, flaring up in some periods and subsiding in others. Prosecutions against Christians were generally regional and continued until around the middle of the 3rd century. However, things began to change with Emperor Decius, who ruled between 249 and 251 AD. Decius wanted to promote loyalty to the Roman religion. He enacted laws that mandated sacrificing to pagan gods and used receipts to document the animals sacrificed under these laws. Those without these receipts, who were deemed incapable of sacrificing to the gods, could be arrested and killed. However, when Decius passed this law, he did not specifically target Christians. Those prosecuted, arrested, and killed were not exclusively Christians. Pagans who neglected sacrificing to the gods were also affected by this law. Nevertheless, during the reign of Emperor Valerian, who ruled from 253 to 260 AD, a period of persecution against Christians began, particularly targeting them. In 257, Valerian issued a series of laws that resulted in the removal from office of senators who refused to comply and the execution of those persisting in their attitudes. A year later, he had prominent Christian figures executed. The properties of Christian officials were confiscated, and each of them was sent into exile. However, systematic persecution against Christians within the borders of the Roman Empire began in 303 AD during the reign of Emperor Diocletian. According to a law enacted by Diocletian, Christian books and places of worship within the empire were to be destroyed, and Christians' gatherings for worship were also prohibited. All priests and clergy were to be arrested, and they would be released only if they accepted sacrificing as a sign of renouncing Christianity. Otherwise, they would be executed. Modern estimates suggest that around 3,500 Christians were killed during this period, while many more were tortured and imprisoned. The persecution policy against Christians reached its peak during this period. However, this situation would not last for long. At this point, it is essential to briefly discuss the political situation of the Roman Empire during that period. The 3rd century was a continuous crisis period for the empire, marked by internal strife, wars, famines, and diseases. Emperor changes occurred frequently. However, Diocletian reshaped the structure of the empire and implemented the new governance model known as tetrarchy or rule of 4, where the empire was ruled by 4 emperors simultaneously, 2 primary and 2 subordinate. Diocletian implemented this system to make the expanded empire more manageable. During this period, Constantine, one of the joint emperors, achieved sole dominance by winning the Battle of the Milvian Bridge against the other emperor he jointly ruled with, Maxentius, in 312. After this victory, Constantine became the sole emperor of Rome and initiated a change in the persecution policy against Christians. In 313, Constantine and the other joint emperor Licinius issued the Edict of Milan, ending the persecution against Christians and recognizing religious freedom. This marked a significant turning point in the history of the Roman Empire and symbolized the beginning of a more favorable period for Christians. Constantine, along with Maximianus ruling over Gaul, Spain, and Britain, Maxentius ruling over Italy and Northwest Africa, and Licinius ruling over the Balkans and Mount Maximianus, built the joint governance model together. This model, known as Tetrarchy, ended on October 28, 312, when Constantine and Maxentius' armies faced each other in the Battle of the Milvian Bridge. Constantine, the winner of the battle, killed Maxentius and annexed his territories. However, the meaning of this battle gained a religious dimension later on. According to Constantine's court priest, Constantine saw a cross with the words by this sign, "You shall conquer," written on it in his dream before the battle. According to another source, Lactantius, Constantine's dream showed the letters Chi and Rho, the first 2 letters of the Greek word for Christ. Constantine, before the battle, inscribed a symbol consisting of these letters on the banners and shields of his soldiers. According to Lactantius, he won the battle with this symbol. While this event can be considered a symbolic beginning of the emperor's acceptance of Christianity, in reality, the adoption of Christianity was likely more related to Constantine's policies. Over the years, Christianity continued to spread within the borders of the empire. In the East, Aramaic-speaking communities embraced Christianity, and the number of Christians in Alexandria and beyond increased daily. By the time of Constantine, 1 in every 10 people living within the empire's borders had become a Christian. Additionally, in the year 301, the Kingdom of Armenia officially accepted Christianity as its official religion. Among the factors contributing to the spread of Christianity within the Roman borders were the devout nature of ancient Rome and the intertwining of religious and political authorities. For instance, before being elected as consul, Julius Caesar served as the Pontifex Maximus, the highest priest in Rome. This situation eventually led to emperors acquiring divine attributes over time. Emperors were deified by the Senate after their deaths, temples were built in their honor, and sacrifices were made to their horses. Indeed, as the Roman Empire's borders expanded, Romans encountered different beliefs and gods. This led to the emergence of a diverse pantheon of gods with regional variations in Rome's polytheistic structure. Romans could incorporate new gods into their beliefs, showcasing the adaptable and flexible nature of Roman religious practices. This flexibility played a crucial role in Romans accepting Christianity. Romans often had no qualms about considering Jesus as a new deity. The concepts found in Christian teachings, such as eternal life and forgiveness of sins, especially appealed to those living in the lower strata of society. These individuals led challenging lives with no guarantees for the future. The traditional pagan religion of Rome fell short in sustaining the beliefs of these people. However, Christianity provided hope and a message of salvation. Other factors contributing to the rapid spread of Christian teachings, particularly among the poor, included the weakness of the Roman government and the corruption of institutions during the crisis of the 3rd century. Rome struggled to provide necessary assistance to the poor, while Christians gained popularity by offering various forms of help during this turbulent period. Additionally, tax reforms implemented during the time of Emperor Diocletian resulted in cuts to the funding of state-supported cults. These cults, struggling to reach and assist the public, were gradually replaced by Christian sects. The complexity of Rome's traditional religion was another factor contributing to the spread of Christianity. The Roman religion involved numerous gods and intertwined beliefs, creating a complex religious landscape among the people. In contrast, Christianity offered a more focused and organized belief system. Emperor Constantine closely monitored these developments and observed the religious changes within the empire's borders. Constantine's goal was to politically unite the empire, and he believed that he could achieve this not only through military victories but also through social and cultural unity. To make his first move toward this goal, he sidelined Maxentius in the Battle of the Milvian Bridge, one of his rivals, in 312. By eliminating Maximian in 313 and later sidelining Licinius in 324, Constantine became the sole emperor. However, Constantine believed that the political unity of Rome could be guaranteed not only through military victories, but also through social and cultural unity. The traditional religion of Rome did not have an entirely consistent internal structure and did not appeal to every segment of society. In contrast, Christianity had a more understandable and clear message. Constantine believed that Christianity could have this unifying effect, and in 313, with the Edict of Milan, he granted freedom of belief to all faiths within the borders of the Roman Empire. This edict brought an end to the policy of persecution, and people could now openly declare their Christian faith. Following the Edict of Milan, Constantine financially supported the church, constructed basilicas, granted specific tax exemptions to clergy, appointed Christians to high positions, and returned the properties seized during the persecution era to their rightful owners. The Nicene Council, held in 325, where the foundations of Christianity were established, also convened under Constantine's leadership. All these developments played a crucial role in making Christianity the dominant religion within Rome. The question of whether Constantine himself was a genuine Christian remains debatable. According to some historians, Constantine used Christianity as a tool to implement his policies. Although the Edict of Milan legalized Christianity, other beliefs continued within the Roman Empire. In other words, Constantine did not issue an edict banning or restricting other religions. In 315 AD, the construction of the Arch of Constantine lacked Christian symbols and contained statues dedicated to Apollo, Diana, and other offerings. Throughout Constantine's rule, the sun god Sol Invictus was the most frequently depicted figure on coins. We know that this figure was closely associated with Constantine's family culture. However, if Constantine were a devout Christian, he would likely have used symbols of the cross or other Christian motifs, claiming victory in the alleged Battle of the Milvian Bridge instead of such figures on coins. Constantine never publicly declared himself a Christian throughout his life and was baptized only on his deathbed. Moreover, we know that Constantine's mother, Helena, was a Christian who taught him many things about Christianity. Thus, Constantine's sympathy for Christianity was closely related to this matter. However, given all this information, it is difficult to definitively say whether Constantine was a true Christian. After Constantine's death, Christianity continued to spread in the Roman Empire. From this period onward, with the exception of emperors who embraced paganism, all emperors were Christians. With the Edict of Thessalonica issued by Theodosius I in 380 AD, Christianity became the official religion of Rome. However, practices such as the ban on paganism and the closure of temples resulted in coercion and discrimination associated with Christianity. The Christian population began attacking pagan temples, leading to an escalation of the situation. During this process, Christians, who became one of Rome's greatest enemies, exerted an influence aimed at purging pagan culture.